2016 Millennium Series World Championships, the SPL final. The semi-pro division is about to go down right now. Matty Marshall with Nick Sloviak. And it's going to be Stockholm Ignition taking on Red Storm Moscow. We have seen Red Storm in this position before, Nick.
Yeah, Red Storm is, I believe it was Barcelona, Matty, that they made it into the finals to play against the Russian Legion, who we're surprised not to see, as we were kind of misled watching Kirill all geared up. Like, why would he be geared up if he's not playing?
Well, and the way that Russian Legion has really stepped up towards the second half of the season, really starting to get those younger guys to find their form, to complement the veterans that they have. I really thought that, and I had heard in the prelims that they were playing very well from some of our other friends that play down in that SPL division. But they didn't make it, and Red Storm is up here to represent the country of Russia and Stockholm Ignition. Scandinavia, also a hotbed of paintball talent throughout the years. We saw Solid from Norway play incredibly well in the prelims, not well enough to make it through, but for a first-year pro team, they gave some real good teams some fights. So it's always great to see a team from Scandinavia up here playing for a win, and they are on your screen right now. There is the starting five. Yeah, starting four, and here comes the fifth guy, kind of just sauntering in.
As soon as we can, we will get you guys the updates on the teams that will be moving up and down in these divisions. As we watch the breakout of Stockholm Ignition right there. Creeping up to that center wall, I like that. Keeping that gun steady, pressure on the Dorito side, kind of sitting back off of it. Looking for a move into that Dorito 1. You can see the 5 players for Red Storm Moscow, 2 in the back center, and just that camera taking a beating.
Yeah, so you can see.
Which is a good sign, right? Because, I mean, if I hear that there's 2 players in that back center, you want to apply pressure and not let them fill out, as they are still stuck there.
And there's Erklund up in the center for Ignition. And Red Storm is going to be on the left-hand side. So there is the spread for for Red Storm Moscow. A couple of these guys have played for the Russian Legion back in the day. And now they have their own crew and doing well, obviously, to be here in the finals of the semi-pro division.
Yeah, I'd have to think that they're probably in contention for moving up along with the Russian Legions.
They've got to, because this is 2 final appearances that they've made. I think they won Barcelona. Didn't they win?
I'm going to have to agree with you. I think they did win.
Russian Legion in that one. I think that was Barcelona. It's a bit windy. My paper with that on flew away a couple hours ago. So now 8:38 to go. Just getting things rolling. Kind of a little bit of a slow start to this point. No one really taking much ground, though. Got to give it to Ignition. They did push up into that center 50. There's the rest of the boys from Ignition. Haven't really got out wide. No one's in either back spot on the Snake or D side. Just to kind of content to roll their guns and kind of feel out Red Storm. And Red Storm really they haven't gone anywhere either. They're still locked in the pocket. There's the first body to drop, and it is going to be Stockholm Ignition with the kill. So Red Storm now with 4 bodies to work with here. And they don't have much ground. They did make it out wide. They are in D1. You can see over here D1, stand-up can here towards the center. Stand-up can snake side. And then the insert bunker snake. And now some moves by Red Storm getting out wide. They lose the body on the D side. So now just 3 bodies left alive for Red Storm.
Yeah, now a move being made into the snake by Ignition. Ignition looking for them to smell the blood in the water. See those 2 bodies walk off and make moves. It looks like a 3rd body is walked off now from the Dorito side. So there's 2 bodies left alive, 1 in the snake insert and 1 in the snake corner. So waiting for that Dorito push.
Yeah, so you
from
see
Ignition
here, just 2 bodies left alive. One of them looking D side, and the other one looking snake side. But lots of bodies left alive for Ignition. 5 bodies alive. No one has dropped, and really haven't seen too many moves. I mean, they're still in D2, but based on the body count, Red Storm is going to go ahead and concede at that point. That's going to give Ignition the first one here, but nothing magical really happened in that first point. Kind of a slow start to this game, but hey, Ignition made it work. They worked out those bodies, and Red Storm not able really to get out wide and stay alive. So they made it effective.
Reload.
Reload? Yeah. So there's Rosen and the crew for Stockholm Ignition. And I believe this is the first time that we haven't seen Ignition here on center court.
The name, though.
Oh, Ignition's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
Stockholm Ignition has been a team for quite a while.
So Boys of Stockholm Ignition getting ready to take the field. 2 minutes between points now. This is single matches, not split deck. So good job by them, forcing Red Storm to concede, not losing a body at the first point. 1 minute to go before the start of this next point. You know, man, we saw the one match yesterday, the highest scoring game was 7 points by one team.
The most points that we have scored on every single game this weekend was 7 points. And that was, I'm trying to remember which game
There was at least 2, I think.
No, I think it was only one game. It was Paris Camp Carnage against Syndicate. They put up 7.
So 9, was it 7-2?
It was 7-4.
7-4, so 11 points played in that matchup. If you come to today, that goes to a grinding halt no matter what division is played out in this field, as no one is looking to make any mistakes or make any drastic moves. I think we haven't had a score over 5 points played the last few sets, and I think that was Impact versus Carnage. I think it was maybe 5 or 6 points scored.
They put up 6. Impact put up 6 against Camp Carnage. And then Tauntauns put up 6 against Coming At Ya. And that is the highest score of the day. So right now, after that, about a 3-minute point in that first one, they reset, and another conservative breakout for these teams. But Ignition again taking, well, I can't really say it's a conservative breakout after taking the center 50. Both points in a row, Ignition has pushed up to that center 50 off the break. You see him there, dead center of your screen. And again, the first body to drop is for Red Storm. So Ignition winning the gunfights and taking the ground here. They haven't got out wide. See no one in this back bunker, no one in snake 1, also no one in D1, and no one in that back spot either. So that's the definition of aggression. Going out wide is trying to get into those back spots, but it's working for Ignition. They're getting their guy up clean. They're getting that first kill. This is 2 points in a row that they've had this advantage.
Yeah, and that first kill coming out of the back center against Red Storm, so you definitely don't want your back center players dying right away. 2 refs running in. You're going to call out the Red Storm player trying to fill out to the corner. So now Red Storm down 2 bodies. Ignition 5 strong. The way things have been going after that first point. Let's see if Red Storm decides to let their players do something here. As soon as they got to 2 bodies in the first point.
That's Erblund again up in the center. They sent him up there again both of these points, and really there doesn't seem to be a sense of immediacy on Red Storm both these points to go and get that guy out of there, which either means that they don't care about having a guy at their 50, or they it hasn't been communicated to the guy who's in that center here, who would be the closest guy to go and get that guy out of there. It's still real far back in order to do so. So these conservative breakouts have not been playing into Red Storm's advantage. Stockholm Ignition 5 on 3 right now, and up a point. And Nick, like you said, the way that these slow points have been going, that makes the slower the games, the less the points, the more important every point is. And they're just going to go and concede it, as Ignition had finally got a body into the snake. So now 2-0 is the score. And if I'm Ignition, I'm going to go ahead and send Berklund back up there again. Why would I not? They haven't even attempted to get us out of there.
No, you're absolutely right, you know, and I wouldn't change anything. On the flip side, though, looking at Smotrov there for Red yeah, Moscow. You know, they gotta. Some of their coaches gotta recognize that. Hey, he's going up there. Let's just take that ground and make something happen. Or, I mean, they gotta try something. Samoylov. I'm sorry, not Smotrov. Samoylov. I'd like to see something. Yeah, you know, Red Storm went wide, you could say, but you got to go forward, man. You got to make that progress down the field. Getting wide helps you get players underneath you, and then down the field into the Doritos, into the snake.
Well, they're going with that pocket play, and then they've been trying to get a body out wide D side, but it just, at 2 points in a row, it hasn't been working for them here. Looking in the pits of Red Storm. So they're just conceding that center.
Anton.
And haven't sent anyone up there to try to contend with him, so he's just chilling up there. And then just winning a couple gunfights. So yeah, nothing crazy on the side of Ignition, other than a decently aggressive breakout again, sending that body up to the center. But
I want to say Papa Malloy's dad, Mr. Britnikoff, played on this team. I'm not sure if he's out there. I haven't seen him. I actually haven't seen him all event. Usually I see him walking around the event. Trying to remember back. Samoch off there with Anton, number 77. See if they can get something going. Both those players have played professionally in the United States.
Yeah, we've seen these guys before. Well, Red Storm
69, Lukashuk.
Red Storm used to play in the PSV back in the day. You got Lukashuk, you got Kuchgazev. I think they have Samoylov on that squad. Yeah, there's Samoylov. So these are guys we've seen out here before. So it's not surprising that they're doing as well as they are. But it is kind of surprising that they're coming out with these conservative game plans. This time they spread the field out. So aggressive breakout, getting out wide here, and then immediately filtering a body. They know they need to make up some ground. 5 minutes to go, and they need 2 points just to tie it up. And of course, why would you not? Stockholm Ignition, because no one is dealing with their center player. Eklund goes up there again, and he's looking D-side. And here comes the hammer, about to get dropped. So nice work by Red Storm to, as far as game plans are concerned, identify what has been stopping them. And then right off that move, they take both Snake 1 and D3, and now quickly to the 50-yard line on the D side. And this is the Red Storm we'd seen before. So they got kind of a quiet start to this match, and now bodies are dropping for Ignition. Is there a penalty over there?
Didn't know there was a penalty, but 2 bodies dropping simultaneously, and no one looking at the Snake, and that definitely should be a penalty.
Oh, Samoylov is just dropping the hammer over here on this Snake side. I think untouched too, because both of them were looking in the opposite direction.
Yeah, Samoylov's asking for a penalty. He's not going to get it, although he should deliver.
Yeah, Galka, also longtime member of Red Storm. He hit that buzzer. He's checked out by the ref, and we now have ourselves a 1-point match.
Yeah, so definitely the Red Storm we're used to right there. Shooting players, making moves.
Well, it's just unfortunate if you're a fan of Red Storm that they waited, kind of spotted Ignition 2 points. I wouldn't say they spotted them 2 points because, you know, they obviously Ignition earned those points, but they just had that conservative game plan. They didn't really want to go anywhere, and refused to deal with the guy in the center, refused to move up the field. Now, as soon as they do that and they get those offensive wheels rolling, it looked like a really easy point for them. You know, runs up in the center, takes out the center 50 with Alkland up there, and then immediately into D3, incredibly quick, and then stomping down with Samoylov down on this Snake side of the field to pull within 1. You're just kind of wondering, like, where was that the first couple points?
Right, and I'm glad you said that, because I would say that about almost all these games we've seen after the pros, right? It's just how slow everyone's playing.
Well, I'm going to give the lower divisions a little benefit of the doubt, just because they're the lower divisions.
Right. Well, it just
that's why those teams are down there. They can't play at the speed of the pros. But now we're here in the semi-pro division. These guys these names we're reading off.
No excuse.
No excuse. I mean, come on, man. We've seen you guys play in the pro divisions over in the States. We've seen you guys play on Russian Legion before. Red Storm has been in the finals. We're now here looking at who is potentially going to move up and try to make themselves relevant in the CPL next year, because it could be wide open next year. If Impact and Heat, I don't know if they're going to come over next year. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It's always a question. It's tough. It's expensive. They've been doing it for years. Every year you're wondering, are they going to continue to do it? But if they don't, well, that kind of blows the doors wide open as to who is going to be dominant. Obviously, the Tauntaun's still in Breakout Spa, but still, that's kind of the cool narrative that I can't wait to see in 2017. And this is one of those teams now in that equation. So to see him get a slow start like that against a team Ignition that hasn't been up here yet, it's like kind of what's going on. But so it's good to see him come out and get a real good point in here. 4 minutes and 10 seconds left to go. See if they can put another point together. Red Storm.
Yeah, Red Storm player in that Snake insert. He takes a lucky bounce off his right shoulder.
Well, and they go back to the conservative breakout, doubling up the back center. And look at Ignition. Ignition now deciding not to go up to the center 50, but they do get out wide on the D side. No one out wide at all, and no one up the field for Red Storm. Yeah, now they try to get out wide. That's good. See if he made it out there. And he's able to make it out clean. They then filter another body out of that back center. Nice job. Ignition, no offensive push on the Snake side at all. Looking at a couple guns. You can see the guns now, which way are they looking? You got 2 guns looking towards the Snake side. There was 2 guns. Now 2 guns again. 3 guns. And there's Samoylov's going to move up the center this time. So
heads up play.
Yeah, good point so far for Red Storm. Ignition with a little push here on the D side, getting into D2. And since they got out wide, already have that player out there. But still no push at all on the Snake side here for Ignition.
Yeah, neither team in this matchup getting into the Snake until late.
Yeah, this guy wants to go.
Yeah, looks like Anton he definitely trying to find a way in there. He's got that player there with him in that corner. That's going to help his case. As Ignition makes a bump out to the snake insert. They're going to go ahead and go into the snake 1. So Ignition first to get into the snake. So it's going to force Samoylov to switch over. Now Anton gets in the snake, and look at this. The Ignition player was standing a little too tall in there. Didn't know Samoylov was up in that wall. Takes him out.
A penalty as well, too. Well, they're pulling bodies out. Couldn't see because we switched angles whether or not that was a penalty. Regardless, that's going to give Red Storm some breathing room over here and allow them to potentially tie this game up. And they're, because of these slow points, not a lot of time left. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left to go here in this SPL final matchup. Last event of the Millennium Series. Close game.
Nice little battle going on between Samoylov on the right and a player for Ignition in the Dorito 3. Samoylov backs up into the Dorito Tower as Anton has now made his way into the snake. What a shot there. He almost hits the player. He might have a little shot there on the elbow. He looks like he hits him in the hand. Nice job by Anton.
Yeah, Kuchikasev over here handling business for Red Storm. So, hey, better late than never. A little bit of a slow start for Red Storm, but they are finding their form and now pushing up on the D side as well, trying to pinch out the last player left alive, and they got a lot of bodies to do it. You see the 2 players over here on the snake side for Red Storm, and they are going to tie this game up here at 2. As Samoylov getting checked out by the ref.
A thorough checking.
Looks like the point is good. 2-2, minute and 17 seconds left. So probably, barring major incident, whoever wins this next point will take this game.
Well, I mean, I'm going to say go ahead and say overtime is probably 90%.
You're right. That is absolutely a possibility.
I don't think anyone's been shot on the break.
Well, and the way that they're kind of slow playing these points, we might even see another one-on-one, man. It would not surprise me with what's at stake here going into overtime. If you get a 5-5 break, it's going to come down to a 5-5 or 4-4 break. You get a 5-5 or a 4-5 or a 4-4 break in overtime. Yeah, that's a good point, Nick. We could very well see an overtime matchup here. Again, seen a decent amount of those here at this event. And we got to see young 19-year-old star Brandon Cornell winning a one-on-one for coming at ya, taking on Paris Camp Carnage to take 3rd place in that last match.
1 minute to go before the start of this 5th point. 1:17 left to go. Yeah, you know, I'm in my mind, I'm just praying, like, please be aggressive. I want to see someone take this. I wanted to see someone go after the victory. I don't think that's going to happen at all. But well, I can hope. As a timeout, it seems to be Ignition taking a timeout, as they're not on the field yet.
Yeah, that's a smart timeout for Ignition. You just had 2 unanswered points rolled off on you. The other team woke up and really was starting to get the better of Ignition and Red Storm. So
just trying to help you out there. It's getting a little windy up here.
Yes, it is. A little breezy here this afternoon in Chantilly.
Which is nice. A little gloomy this morning. A couple sprinkles, a little misty, and then sun has come out now. Not gonna lie, we probably do have the best seat in the house here in our perch. Looking over the event as Red Storm Moscow all set on the field. Still waiting on Ignition to take it, as they have taken a timeout. And yeah, I mean, probably a good call to, you know, going up 2 points and then losing 2, minute 17 left. How do you want to take this? It makes me wonder, you know, what got Ignition to this point? How are they playing all tournament long, you know? And that's something that I would think, well, hey, what got us here? You know, was it our aggressiveness? Was it our shooting off the break? Why don't we, you know, are we lacking that now? So only Ignition can answer that question for themselves, and hopefully in that timeout, they came up with an answer. We'll see if they can implement that there. Oh, look at that. Look at that guy. That stud. Darren, the Iceman.
Yeah, shout out to our crew here.
Getting, looks like a panorama shot.
And fixing the cable cam, which we've had bringing the shot, the eye in the sky. Now on the breakout, minute and 17 seconds left here in this final game, or final game in the semi-pro division. And it looks like the first body to drop is for Red Storm on the D side of the field. So Ignition now has an opportunity. 5 bodies alive for them. They go back up to that center off the break. And he is shooting towards the D side, under a minute to go. So will we see another overtime point, or can Ignition utilize that 1 body advantage to try to move up the field? It's not much of an advantage. A 4-on-5, it's, you know, yeah, it's an advantage, but what are you going to do with it?
Well, I mean, that's up to them, right?
Yeah,
you know, they got to make something happen.
Well, they're trying. They're now coming up snake, or coming up on the center. No one in the snake, though.
Yeah.
There's no moves being made here. Snake side, you see multiple bodies shooting that wave. There goes another body for Red Storm. So now this is a decent advantage. 5-on-3, 30 seconds to go. Smoilov has to reposition here to try to keep the attack from coming down that D side. And he's content. He's going to head check Snake side, and then keeps his gun. Going to head check again, keeps the gun D side. And there's the back line for Red Storm on the left-hand side of your screen. Looks like another body drops, so Ignition with just under 10 seconds to go, getting chewed up, trying to get in there. 1 player left alive. Don't know if they're going to have enough time. I don't think they are, as no, there's 2 players left alive, and we are going to be going to another overtime here.
So Ignition with the clear advantage, not being able to get it done there. And I've got to believe, you know, these teams have the time to practice this field layout. You know, there's a good reason to practice 5-on-4s and 5-on-3s and how to break games open and close them.
If you're running practices and you're a tournament team and you're not running high and low body situations, you are not doing your job in practice.
Tell them, Maddie.
You have to do that.
Tell them.
Just like you got to run all the drills. Those are the drills you need to run. Run those drills. It's incredibly important. If you're not constantly in that that headspace where you're stressed, there's not time left. I mean, you should be setting up that situation. Hey guys, you got a minute 30. There's 5 of you and 3 of them. 3, hold it off. 5, somehow make it work. And you run that as much as you possibly can. You get put in that situation, so now when you're playing for the win, you're not surprised. You've been in this situation before, and you're doing it on the layout. You need to do that on the layout so that you know based on the different variables. Every layout's different. And with those changing variables, the principles remain the same, but those angles always change. And you knowing those angles is the difference between being able to have a 5-on-3 and close it out in 30 seconds and win the game, or you heading to overtime and having to reset 5-5 or 5-on-5.
Beautifully said.
It's just the way it is.
As we look onto the field, GI, VIP, and then there's a die truck. Nice booth this year. And Red Moscow. Woo! Pasha letting out a little yell there. Let's see what happens. 5 minutes on the clock in this overtime point. There's the breakout.
On the breakout, we'll see who is going to get the advantage, and it looks like we have a 4-on-5 situation. Eklund up in the center again for Ignition, but Ignition losing a body behind him. So a 1-body advantage right now for Red Storm, but they are doubling up this back center bunker. But there's no one out wide for Ignition, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem to live in that spot. There's Galka and Smoilov. Smoilov wants to move.
Definitely, you know,
Yeah, he wants to get out of there.
The question is, does Red Storm know that there's a body up there?
I'd go up and drop the hammer on the guy in the center.
Oh, I get you.
Make it a 4-on-3.
I would bet Samotrov would definitely make that happen if he knows that there's someone up there. I don't know. We can see the Ignition player playing off the Snake side, waiting for someone to make a move, and here comes a launch through the middle. He goes through, preserves his body, and takes out the Ignition player. So nice job by the Red Storm player, who's now in the Dorito Tower of Ignition, gunfighting their Snake can.
So tense moments here in overtime. 3:45 to go. Ignition down to the 3 players that you see on your screen. And look at this, left-hand side, past the 50-yard line. Trying to blow things open here and win this tournament for Red Storm. Ignition trying to hold them off, though. You can see the bunker moving slightly right here. as he has his gun. You can see the paint exploding a little bit. Might be raking some balls and trying to shoot towards that snake side. Tense moments here for any Ignition fans out there as they are down bodies and they are not in a good position. Look at this player right here trying to get as tight as he can, and he gets taken out. Now just 2 bodies alive.
Yeah, Moscow with 5 bodies still alive. Things not looking very good here as players on Red Storm starting to move down the field on both sides. There's now 1 body left alive for Stockholm Ignition. He's going to make a desperation fill, roll out to the corner, get mopped up, and that's going to do it. Red Storm Moscow going to win this. 5 bodies up.
Oof, Red Storm Moscow taking the victory.
3 unanswered points.
In a very close game here, obviously, as we went to overtime. Samoylov hits that buzzer. Kuchagazev out there as well, and good job by the boys from Red Storm. Going to take the victory here away from Stockholm Ignition. Ignition, like you said, they went up by 2. It was 2-0. Looked like Red Storm kind of came into this one just very flat, kind of sleeping through the first 2 points, and then found their form again. Started pushing the field, winning some gunfights, and better late than never, right? As they wake up and then roll off 3 unanswered points to take this victory away from Stockholm Ignition, and going to take the victory here in the semi-pro division. So potentially you could see Red Storm up in the CPL next year. It's very possible. There are a lot of good teams in the SPL that are just waiting in the wings to move into the CPL if they get the opportunity. So the future is bright for the CPL division. Never know what's going to happen in the offseason. Big congratulations again to Red Storm. So do not go anywhere. The most important game of the tournament